So I have genital herpes, and that's a nice skyline if there wasn't for the air quality. But let's get back on track. The funniest thing that I've noticed after basically navigating my diagnosis, getting rid of all that shame, getting a partner to learn to disclose, all of the good stuff, is just how stupid a lot of us are. And not necessarily stupid, but like afraid or herd mentality. And it's this: people to this day will defend that cold sores aren't herpes. It's not an STD or an STI, or like you slept around and everyone's born with a cold sore. And if you have some time to think outside of the spiraling negativity and outside of the shame and outside of the pity and the guilt you have for yourself, you'll realize that none of this really makes sense. You can take 5 minutes and go online and realize that cold sores is HSV, and maybe it's type 1, maybe it's type 2, maybe down here is type 1, maybe down there is type 2. Explain to me why a cold sore isn't herpes unless we've basically made up definitions. Because HSV is HSV. And when people say, oh, it's not an STI or an STD, that's a method of transmission when it comes to herpes. HIV doesn't have to be passed sexually. Herpes doesn't have to be passed sexually. It's just how you get the virus. And one of the crazier things is that if there was just exclusively type 1 being oral and type 2 being genital, you could get away with all of these different like segregations of which type you have. But the fact that like most people aren't tested, the fact that you can have little to no symptoms, the fact that you think you're having it on an STI panel, the fact that people are getting genital type 1 from up here, the fact that it could be passed when there isn't an active outbreak, but obviously it's unlikely, and the fact that we're all trying to defend the fact that a cold sore is not herpes because that must mean there's something wrong with having herpes, even though it's just simply a virus. Maybe we should all go around asking each other our body count and asking each other our sexual lifestyle, and then we shame someone. Because you can have 1,000 partners and not get herpes. You can get one partner and get herpes. And it's never really about the acquisition of herpes that is shameful. It was about how you lived your life, and someone's going to tell you that. But how are you supposed to live your life? This is getting too philosophical now, but the point of the video is to say that the only reason why someone would deny something that's medically true after 5 minutes of information on Google is fear. If you're watching this, which you probably aren't, and you get cold sores and you don't want to feel bad, choose not to feel bad. The same way how I'm not going to choose to feel bad if I get cold sores down here, because up here is up to me and everything else out here is out of my control. And if you feel like you've lost control of your thoughts, even though they are always going to be your own, click the link down below. I'm going to share 3 secrets on overcoming your diagnosis.